Chapter 1. After the End. We are witnessing the last moments of a film. All the action is behind us, and we know that there is nothing else to be revealed. Nonetheless, we remain seated, waiting for the departure or connection, for the truth that has been constructed during the minutes of the cinematic work. The end. The image is faded away, sinking into the dark material of nothingness. What happens after the end? We may be able to speculate a continuation of the action, that the characters would finally continue with their mundane activities, getting over the extraordinary moment that have uprooted the course of normality and the monotone routine of life. What happens after the spectacle? When no one is looking anymore, not even the camera. Is there a future after the end? When the exploitative mechanics of the eye, camera, and storytelling move to another chapter of life, what happens with all the actors, either dead or alive? How does the trauma of the event heal? Are there any glimpses of a future in the darkness of the end? How can someone invest her or his energy in constructing a mental landscape of a future when her or his existence is conditioned by economic subsistence, chained by debt, having her or his time, be it 5, 10, 30 years or more, stolen by the hands of the creditors?
The future is not an obvious concept, but a cultural construction and projection.
How to search, articulate, and compose a platform for tomorrow's well-being out of the continuous end that has become the present.
The rise of the myth of the future is rooted in modern capitalism, in the experience of expansion of the economy and knowledge. The idea that the future will be better than the present is not a natural idea, but the imaginary effect of the peculiarity of the bourgeois production model. Since its beginning, since the discovery of the new continent and the rewriting of the maps of the world, modernity is defined by an act of amplification of the very limits of the world. And the peculiarity of capitalist economy resides exactly in the accumulation of the surplus value that results in the constant enhancement of the sphere of material goods and knowledge.
Chapter 2. Images of the Possible. Space, nature, and leisure. Nothing can be seen above the trees' crowns. There are no parks, and everything is a forest. Human life blends within the landscape. Their buildings are simple, moderated in size, and very practical. No material is wasted with the purpose of aestheticization, but nonetheless, beauty is everywhere. Everything looks so clean, carefully composed, in order to offer a healthy environment where one can learn, experiment, and enjoy life without the pressure of economic survival. labor and production are still present within human activities. How to dissolve the borders of these words and spill the utopia over the world that we know. Not even the ink believes the images that it tries to sketch. Hope has been erased, and no future can be foreseen outside the logic and hierarchies of today. Not that life outside labor cannot be imagined, but labor has become life. Labor time has become living time.
It's about putting life to work.
Break has become an empty word, knowing that the reproduction of this configuration never stops. Revolutions and systemic changes are part of the realm of nostalgia. Nothing seems to escape the logic of monetary translation and profit. There is no hope for a better future, for social constructions that would heal the damages of the past, that would hopefully restore the equilibrium of biological life on Earth. Is this the end? How to put an end to the inequalities across the world? How to put an end to exploitation and start distributing knowledge and wealth throughout the communities of the world?
As Badiou has forcefully insisted, an effective anti-capitalism must be a rival to capital, not a reaction to it. There can be no return to pre-capitalist territorialities. Anti-capitalism must oppose capital's globalism with its own authentic universality.
Where to find hope when even our utopian desires and criticality are captured and transformed into empty products, dried out of any hope of materialization of this possible future? Chapter 3: Politics of the Present. Two characters of a story. A young couple placed within a landscape that offers no specific landmarks. A place that could be here or there. It could be their familiar setting that they call home, or it could be the other, the strange, the unknown. The action continues. It is sunset, and the weight of the end overwhelms the two. They seem exhausted, but not by the labor that have passed. History is not the one that has to be carried on their shoulders. Tomorrow is the great enemy. The idea of the future is the one that brings fear of the uncertain into the eyes of the couple. They are not overwhelmed by debt, but by the idea of paying the debt, knowing that they are now obliged to work. What if they get ill? What if they get fired and lose their source of income? What will happen with their lives? There is no time to live the present when tomorrow brings nothing but uncertainty. There is no time to change the future because the time of tomorrow has been already sold. There is no present. The action of the story was written years ago. Nonetheless, we continue to live by its words. We trust its timeline and live together with the two characters and their drama of living into a complex, multi-layered society. Although cruel, the bidimensional screen, the film, the story, offers comfort. Humans are organic machines, and the complexity of life is impossible to grasp, at least not by their hands, eyes, and minds. People are limited by their life experience, and there is no time to experience the totality of life on Earth. Mortality is just one of the problems, but through administrative techniques, one can facilitate the classification and translation of life.
Ideological products produce new stratifications of reality. They are the intersection where human power, knowledge, and action meet. New modes of seeing and knowing demand new technologies, and new technologies demand new forms of seeing and knowing.
Politics has the capacity of organizing the unknowns of the future. But more than that, it has the capacity to build the present, to put things in order and prepare them for the future. Politics has the potentiality of composing a collective body in situations when the real connection of people is impossible. Politics is a tool of translation, classification, and composition of the human will, knowledge, and potentiality. Politics can be a prosthesis for the well-being of everyone and everything. Unfortunately, after years of failures in the face of private interests, politics has become just a mediator of the global exploitation of both humans and natural resources. Chapter 4. The End. There is no end. There is life after death, but unfortunately that life is conditioned by the abusive consumptions of global wealth of the past. The life that follows our existence is the one that will be marked by fragility, brutal competition, and lack of empathy, either for the other or for nature. There is an end to human life, but no end can be foreseen for the present configuration of life. If there is no end to exploitation and poverty, to the precarious nature of living, why continue to invest our energy and time into a project of an impossible future? How can the mechanism of the free trade change towards bettering the life of the people? How can competitivity be the rule for social progress? How can someone own the land and natural resources of the planet that we all inhabit? How to change something that seems to be on the deathbed for ages, but with every crack, with every crisis, finds the means to prove that economy is more than an instrument, and has become the measure of life.
The economy, science, and technology are too fast to be well regulated politically and legally. This desynchronization frequently makes the political system adopt anachronistic decisions. That is why the leisurely speed of politics is sometimes corrected by adjudication, which tends to be able to resolve certain cases faster, although resulting to that resource erodes the space belonging to politics. These desynchronizations are proof that progress is not achieved in a united front. In other words, progress in science and technology, for example, does not correspond to social progress.
Although we see with our eyes the cruelty of the world, the increasing gap between communities, cultures, and lifestyles, we still find hope in our hearts. Although we feel every day the struggle for an income and a social status, hope for a better tomorrow is seated in our souls. There is no hope for a future, but hope is the only thing that remained from the promises of the past. Hope is the fuel that can ignite the engine of change. But how to filter this potentiality by national, social, and racial constructions that divide the people of the earth?
The common is not given as a fragile heritage to be protected against the ravages of new forms of primitive accumulation and enclosure. Rather, it is something that must be actively constructed, and this construction involves the creation of subjects in transit.
In a scarce dying world, how to make the best of our time and past technological conquests. how to put behind the virtuality and mirages of the accumulationist logic of the empire and focus the world's wealth and knowledge in building social and political processes for the needy and technological processes for the regeneration of Earth. Everything seems to be a mere socialist desire, but hope dies last.